Hey, in this video I wanted to share with you guys on mastering ego. And don't get me wrong, every day is a battle with the emotions. Sometimes you get hit with all kinds of different angles, and sometimes your emotions start to express. But when you're mastering your ego, or when you master your ego, it pretty much just means you have the highest quality of leash on it. So every now and then, sometimes, even though I'm pretty centered, it still can leak depending on certain situations and all that. But because I was able to master it, I'll usually take a step back and just kind of check myself and observe the situation before I respond. But two of the biggest things that helped me master my ego was having kids and just having a partner that was willing to invest into me too, like that whole twin flame theory. But yeah, I just, when I was a young kid, I was somewhat of a young parent. I noticed that a lot of my ego and temper and all that stuff was starting to project on my son, like he was starting to project that back. So I was making him a product of that environment. And because of the childhood that I was raised under, I just did not want that to be part of his reality or be part of his challenges growing up. But don't get me wrong, like everything happens for a reason. I don't take my childhood back for anything. Like I'm very grateful that I went through everything that I have gone through, even after I'm grown up, because I've learned from all those experiences, and it's molded me into the person I am today. And like I say, without those experiences and learning from them, I wouldn't be able to accomplish half the things that I've done, with my wife and all that. So that was one of the biggest times that I took a step back, and I was like, oh shit, my kids are now picking up on some of those bad habits that I had. And I just started doing my best to back then I'd call it bite my lip. Before I reacted, I tried my hardest to start responding. Another one was just when I was first dating my wife, and we had moved in together. I was used to hostile environments, because like I said, just the upbringing and all that. And so I thought that was normal. So some of my previous partners were all like that too, and I thought it was normal. So which these days, that's not normal at all, because you're basing a lot of your decisions and how you respond to people based off your emotions. And that's not always the accurate way to go about things, because let's be real, like if you're feeling some sort of way and you try and talk about something that's been bothering you, especially that specific topic that's causing disease, then you're more likely going to react, and you're not going to say things from the heart. It's going to be more based off emotions and all that. And so one of the biggest second biggest thing that I went through that helped me recognize and master my ego was just having a partner that understood that. Because I was growing up in hostile environments, I felt like I always had to react, like my guard was always up. But then when I first started hanging out with my, or not sorry, but when I first started dating my wife and everything like that, she would always sit down and be like, okay, well, let's sit down and talk about it and let's work things out, and at the time, I'd be like all flexing and stuff and expecting her to like throw stuff at me or whatever. But no, she was really mellow. She had her emotions under control. And one time I was starting to get all boiled up, and then she was like, okay, well, let's sit down and talk about it, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm like, oh shit. I'm just started thinking like, yeah, why can't we just sit down and talk about it? If this is the love of my life, then we should have enough respect to where we can respond to each other and not react. And that was probably one of my biggest breaks at mastering my ego. It's just like, wow, this whole time I've been reacting because I had no control over my emotions. But it was from then I was able to grow and make better decisions for life in general, for my friendships and my relationships with my kids and my wife. And for those who don't have kids and that are adults, or have found their twin flame, so to speak, it's a lot of it is learning how to respond and react. You just have to fully understand what that truly means, because like I said earlier, if you're basing your judgment off of your emotions, where you're reacting and not taking a step back to respond, then you're probably not going to say the most accurate thing that's you want to represent you as an individual. And most people won't even know that until they start realizing how they were reacting. But yeah, just take a step back. No matter how offensive things are, just try and understand that no one's the same. Everyone comes up from a different upbringing. So it's unfortunate, but with basing your decisions off your emotions kind of comes expectations, and then expectations leads to a lot of failure in conversating and just life in general. Because when you go into a situation with expectations, you're setting yourself up for failure, because a lot of that expectations is not going to lead up to yours, because you come from a different environment and a different upbringing, and everyone else is going through their thing too. So there's not always going to be an alignment, and if you're basing your decisions off that and expectations, then you're probably never going to find an alignment with anybody. And if you do, it's for the worse. So you just kind of create a negative bubble, and it's harder to get out of those. So so just with all that growth that happened, the majority of it came from just having kids and my wife, and just wanting to be a better parent. I was able to if my kids made a mistake or something, in my childhood, that's taboo, you should know better, and they get all mad and whatever. Then sometimes there's physical abuse or whatever. But for me, I just stopped and just was like, okay, let's see how we can do this better. And there's a reason why I told you to do it this way, and now you know why. And the kids will learn so much better and faster when they have somebody trying to guide them rather than control them. Because kids' relationship is like your partners, it's 50-50, and the moment you start doing 75-25 and you're the 75%, then it becomes control. And that kind of leads up to ego, because now they are building expectations for their reality when they get older, because they're like, hey, my dad said it's got to be this way, and now this kind of projects in their lifestyle when they get older. So those were the main things that helped me recognize my ego. Just take a step back, take a breather. You hear it all the time and it sounds funny, but there's breathing methods. If somebody offends you, just chill, don't even say anything, and just take a few deep breaths and be like, play chess with it instead of checkers. See what the next move should be that's best for you, rather than just jumping over the black one or the red one. So that's one of the best ways, or that's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And for people who want to have kids and a wife, just take a deep breath and take a step back and observe before you respond, and I promise you things get better from then, because now you're getting what you project. So if you project some positivity and kindness, then everything's full circle, and it'll come right back to you, and you'll be impressed by the results. And so thought I'd share that with you guys, because that's one of the biggest things that's helped me out in life, through business and my relationships. So yeah, why not share that, right? But yeah, I'll post some more videos about self-awareness. Thanks for following, thanks for tuning in, and as always, post what you know and take what you don't. See ya.